Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today is day 22 of my journey to learn Japanese. And this series of live streams is all about documenting my progress at learning Japanese, having started as a complete beginner. And my goal for today is to expand my Japanese vocabulary, especially for listening comprehension. So, I'm aware that when you're learning Japanese vocabulary, it's very useful to learn pitch intonation as well while you're at it. Um, and also learn the relevant kanji. And I'm definitely gonna revisit this vocabulary and focus on those two parts as well. But for today, um, if I simply know what the word is, then I'll be able to recognize it in context when I'm listening to Japanese, and I think that's where I'd like to start. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to vocab. By the way, I'm on the Lingo Command website, which is the tool that I'm using to learn Japanese. And if we go to the vocabulary section, last time I was studying days of the week. And so I think this is, I made a couple mistakes here. So I think it would be good to revisit this. So here we've got the English words on the left and the Japanese words on the right with audio buttons here.
火曜日、水曜日、木曜日、
if you want to know like how it's pronounced. And we can also then view these words in hiragana and katakana, or hiragana, katakana, and kanji. And the way I'm going to approach this is I'm going to do the quiz, so that's going to test my knowledge, and I'm going to apply random ordering to this quiz. The point of this is when you repeatedly do this quiz, especially with something like the days of the week, which have a kind of intrinsic ordering, you get used to being asked these questions in a certain order. And that makes it, well, put it this way, when you scramble the questions, like in a different order, it makes it harder, and it's really going to test your abilities. So that's why I'm applying random ordering here. And then if I press handwrite answers, that means that instead of typing my answer, I actually can handwrite my answers here. So for example, Wednesday, I think it's something like C-O-B. Let me write it like this, Suyobi. And this is not a loan word, obviously, so we're just gonna write this in hiragana. So this is su. Let's write that more neatly. Sui yo bi. I would say something like this. So now I'm gonna submit my answer and take a look if that's a match. It's not quite. So that was silly. I forgot the U here, so I even wrote it here in the Romaji, but I didn't, unfortunately, write it here in my answer. So this is not a match, but it was pretty close. Sunday is Nichi Yobi, if I recall correctly. So Ni is this. Chi is kind of looks like a 5. And then Yo. This is the nice part. So this Yobi kind of repeats for every day of the week. And so, once you've done that a couple of times, you kind of get quite familiar with it. Nichiyobi. Nichiyobi. Yeah, that's a match. Tuesday is Kayobi, I think. Let's take a look. So ka is this. And then this is yo. That last one. That beat can be written a little bit more neatly. And for those of you who are wondering, so this is the hiragana for hi. And then when you apply these dakuten marks, H goes to B. When you apply dakuten, so this is not hi anymore. This is now B. So let's submit our answer and take a look. Kayobi. Yeah, that's correct. Fantastic. And then Monday is Getsuyobi. So it's a similar thing going on here. We just need ke, and then when you apply the Dakuten mark on top, ke becomes ge, right? Because k goes to g, and then we just need tsu. Zoom out a little bit. Yo bi. Getsu yobi. Yeah, there we go. Saturday is doyobi, if I remember correctly. So let's take a look. This is to, and when you apply Dakuten marks, T goes to D, so this becomes do, and then we add yo bi. Friday is kinyobi. So ki is this one. Let me write this a little bit more neatly. This is ki. N looks like this. And then we just need yo bi. Thursday is mokuyobi. So mo is this one. Just write that a bit more neatly. 1, 2, 3. Still not happy with that. I think these two horizontal strokes are the same length, and then this curls around a bit more. This is ku. This is yo. And then bi is this. So this is mokyobi. Mokyobi. Great. Yeah, so this Wednesday, it was correct for the most part. It's just a shame about that I forgot the U there. But I think that was good enough for today for days of the week. I think, I'd like to revise the numbers. Let's go with that. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to write my answers in hiragana and katakana. And then I'm going to handwrite them. I'm going to apply random ordering. So 7, you can write that in 2 ways, right? So it's either... well, let me write it in Romaji first, right? So if we clear all, 7 is either Nana or Shichi. So this is Nana. And then Shichi is this one. Yeah, that's a match. Great. Just not sure why it would consider that incorrect. It's very strange. I just pressed. There seems to be an issue there. I'm just gonna make a note of that super quickly. Yeah, sorry about that. I just took a note of that, so I don't forget to fix that, because I'm the developer behind this app. So 1 million. So in Japanese, kind of like in English, right? So in English, you've got units like 10. And when I say units is the wrong word. Like listen to the word. So you have 10, you've got 100, and you've got 1,000, and you've got 1,000,000. So for example, 1,000, you don't say 10,000, you just say 1,000. But when you go to 10,000, you do say 10,000. There's not like a different word like a thousand or whatever. And so you've basically got these new words that you introduce every so many units. And in Japanese, you've got a similar thing. So, 100 is one of them. That's 100. Sen, I think, is 1,000. And then man is 10,000. And then I think oku is 10 million. Is it 100 million? I think oku is 100 million. So notice that there's no word for like a million here, so you're gonna have to do something kind of like in English where you say 100,000. That's 100 times 1,000, right? And so what I'm guessing is that a million. Oh, by the way, let me just cross this out. And so for those of you that just joined, I'm on the Lingo Command website and I'm practicing Japanese vocabulary. So the word 1,000,000. So man is 10,000. Hyaku is 100. And so let me zoom out a bit. Hyaku man should be 1,000,000. Right? Because this part is 10K. That's 100. And so 100 times 10K is 1,000,000. And so let me write that in hiragana. So to make this hya sound, you start with hi, then you add ya, like this. But this ya has to be half-sized, so it needs to be quite small. And the reason for that is when you get this small ya, if it's ya, you, or yo, and it's half-sized, then that plus the hiragana before it is something called the hiragana yun combination. It forms a blended syllable. So this is not hi and ya, it's hya. Then we just add a full-sized ku. So this is hyaku. And then we just need man. So this is ma, and that's n. Let me fix that n. Hyaku man. There we go. So that's fine. And then 10 is just ju. So I think this one is another yun combination. So this is ji, and then this is yu. But we need to make this yu half-sized to kind of denote that this is a hiragana yun combination. So it's ju, not jiu. And then we just need one additional u. 100,000. So 100,000 is 10 times 10,000. The reason I'm pointing that out is because man, or ichiman, is 10,000. And the way this works in Japanese is you try and fit like the largest unit here possible, and then you put the multiplier out in front so that, like for example, if I put 1,000 here, which is sen, and then I say 100 times 1,000 is 100,000, that's great, but that's actually incorrect. That's not a word in Japanese. Because 10,000 is larger than 1,000, you put this in front, because this is like basically the largest number that still fits in 100,000. But for example, oku, which I think is like 100 million, that's never gonna fit, so you don't try and do that. So 100,000, you would put 10 times 10,000, so it would be something like 10만. That's how you would say 100,000. So let's write that down. 10만. It's gonna be the same as before. This is a yun combination. 10. So this is G, this is U, but because it's a yun combination, 10. We need an additional U to write down 10. And then this is ma. 10만. 10만. Yeah, perfect. 10 million is is 10,000 times 1,000, right? This is 1,000 sen. Man is 10k. And so to say 10 million, you would say sen man. Sen man. So let's write that in hiragana. Great. The next one is 1,000. So 1,000 is sen. So that's quite simple. Let me write that a bit more neatly. This is sen. And then 1 is ichi. So I chi. 10,000 would be man. Except you can't just say man. You have to put ichi in front. Kind of like how in English, you know how you say like 1,000? Sure, in English you can also say hello. You can say 1,000 as well in English, but in Japanese, if it's on its own, you can't just say man. You have to put the ichi in front. And so the answer here is ichiman. So let's write that. So this is ichi. And then this is ma. And then this is n. Ichiman. Ichiman. So that's a match. Fantastic. Then we go into 9. So 9, there are two ways to say this, right? So it's ku or q, from what I remember. So this is ku. And then to make the q sound, you need a yun combination, right? This is ki. This is a half-sized yu. And when you see a half-sized ya, yu, or yol, you know it's a yun combination. So this is not ki, yu, it's q. The only thing that I'm wondering is there an additional yu at the end? It's the only part I'm less sure about. I think there is. Let's take a look. Yeah, so you can see here, that's a match. And then this matches that. So that's correct. Fantastic. Let's move on to the next one. 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's 5. So for this, we just put ko. So ko is written like that. And then we know when you apply this Dakuten mark, K goes to G. So this is our answer, 5. The only thing that I'm noticing is that the Dakuten marks are kind of inside the Z-looking shape. And so it's not ideal. Like, I think this is still legible, but I should try and fix that. So what's a billion, right? So we spoke about this before that you have hyaku, you have man, no, sen, then you have man, and you have oku. Kind of like how in English, 100, 1,000. Did you design this interesting website yourself? Yes, I did. Thank you. I'm a software engineer, and yeah, so oku is 10 million. Man is 10K. Sen is, let me write an arrow to make this consistent. Sen is 1K, it's 1,000, and hyaku is 100. So 1 billion, the way this works is if we zoom out, I've noticed this pattern with Japanese numbers. I think you basically put the largest unit possible that still fits in a billion out front. So you say, okay, you start with 10 million, and then you need to ask yourself, what do you multiply 10 million by in order to get a billion? Well, that's 100. And so to write 1 billion, it's just hyaku oku. Is that right? Oh, by the way, this is not quite right. Let me scratch this out. Oku is actually 100 million. So here you put 100 million, and then you need to multiply that by 10. So this is ju oku. There we go. And so if you want to write that in, let's pan down a little bit. So this is shi, but when you add dakuten on top, you get ji. Then we're going to add a half-sized yu. This forms a hiragana yun combination, so ju and ji. This is not GU anymore, but ju becomes a blended sound. And we just need the additional u. And then we write, this is o, and this is ku. Let's take a look. Ju oku. Great. That leaves us with 100. So 100 would be, we spoke about this actually, so it's very simple, it's just hyaku. So this is hi, this is ya, but this, let me make this extra small. This half-sized ya denotes a hiragana yun combination, so this hi and a ya becomes a blended sound hya. You add ku at the end, hyaku. Very simple. So, what is 4? 4 is ichi, ni, san, yon. There are two ways to say 4. Commonly you say yon, but you can also say shi. And so, let's write that down. This is yo. That's n. So that's yon. And then shi is just this. It's very simple. So that's a match. Fantastic. I think there seems to be some kind of strange bug where sometimes even when I press, that the answer was correct, it registers it as a mistake. I think it happened earlier here with 7. And so that's definitely something to look out for. I don't know what that's about. What I mean to say is I will investigate that after the live stream and fix that issue for next time. or like at least make it a high priority to fix that. So 8 is hachi. Hachi. So let me try and remember. So this is ha, and then this is chi. Hachi. Yeah, that should be correct. Awesome. 100 million. So we spoke about this, right? These units. So I'll write this one answer and I'll respond to your message. Thank you so much. So 100 million. Yeah. So we have these kind of like units in Japanese, like where you start using a different word. So hyaku is 100. Sen is 1,000. Man or ichiman is 10,000. And then oku is 100 million. And so by remembering that, it becomes very simple. You know, what's 100 million? It's just oku, right? So this is o, this is ku. That's our answer. Bayersdorf, AG. I assume Bayersdorf is in Germany. I don't know, it sounds kind of German to me. Let me check. It's a German multinational company. Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. I assume that means you live in Germany? What does a system integration IT specialist do? While you answer, I'm just gonna try and knock out a few more questions. So 2 is, let's say, ichi, ni. So ni is 2. And to write that in hiragana, you do it like this. Great. Another match. 3 is san, right? So we just do 1, 2, 3, and then oh, that's very silly. I wrote sen, right? This is se. What we need is sa. So let's just put that doesn't match, but that was kind of silly. I was just rushing there. 6 is roku, and ro is written like this. This is ku. Great. And then 0 is so now there's like 3 ways to write 0. It's a little bit tricky. So you have maru, you have 0, and you have rei. This all means 0. I think in certain contexts, it's more common to use one than the other. But anyways, let's start writing these answers. So the first one is, so this is ma, and then ru is very similar to ro, but it has this like little squiggle at the end. 0 is gonna be katakana, presumably, right? Because this sounds like it comes from English. So we need to ask ourselves, what is set in katakana, which is, I think, this. Then when you apply dakuten on top, set, S goes to Z, right? So this becomes Z. And then you need ro. So what is ro in what is ro in hiragana, in katakana? So this is the first stroke, that's the second, that's the third. So this is 0 in katakana, and then rei. So what is re in hiragana again? Because it's this in katakana. How did I forget this? What is re? Let's write them all down. So you have ra, ri, ru, re, and ro. So this is ri. This is ru. That's ro. This is ra. And then re is come on, think. What is re? I should remember this. I don't want, like, I could just press show answer and actually like look at the answer, but I think that would be a waste. So I'm just gonna try and remember. What is ra? So this is ra in, let's try and write it for katakana, see if that jogs my memory. This is ra. This is ri. Ru is this one. Re is that one. And then ro is this. This is so silly. I'm wasting time here. So I'm just gonna put a question mark where re is supposed to be, and then you have I at the end. Oh yeah, of course. Okay. So re is this one. I'm gonna put incorrect here because I forgot what re was. It's just silly. Who designs sets up? Oh, I see. Okay, so we've done numbers. Talking about this, actually, I've noticed this annoying pattern where when there seems to be like multiple ways to write an answer. So 0, for example, it's it's like rei, maru, and well, let me write this more neatly. Let's zoom out a little bit. So it's rei, 0, and then maru. And so, sure, let's just, for argument's sake, say that I wrote down all of the hiragana. When I press my drawing matches, it still registers it as a mistake. And that's because it's now putting, it's submitting this whole thing as the answer, and it says that it doesn't match against this. So I'm trying to think, what's the best way to fix that? Because basically, it's saying it's incorrect because these two don't match. So one thing that I could do is I could just, for now, say that this is also considered a correct answer. Let's put that. So I'll show you guys kind of like what I'm. Thank you. Kind of show like quickly like how I'm gonna make this fix, because I think it is quite distracting. So let's try and find the correct part of the code base. So if I type in maru, boom, we immediately get to this part. And here it's writing. So I've got this structure set up where basically these are the allowed answers. And so I think what I'll do is I'll say, first we need to spin up a local copy of the website so that we can see different like code changes. So if I do npm run dev for this React project and spin this up locally, let's try and make this fix quickly. So we were in the numbers section. When I typed in, wait, let me put random ordering. Actually, this might be a bit more complicated now that I think about it. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna not do the code change just for now. And leave that for later. What I will do though is maybe try months of the year. Hello. My Japanese is not good enough to be able. Actually, you are writing in. Let me try and read this. Hey brother, how are you? Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Let me just try and translate the second sentence. Let's see if this does it have a translate feature. Oh no, it doesn't. I'm doing well, thanks. How are you? Welcome to the broadcast. Okay, so let's now try months of the year. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the quiz section. And here we have hiragana and katakana. And I'm gonna try and handwrite my answers and apply random ordering. So then that's kind of gonna keep me on my toes a little bit. So June is the 6th month of the year. And so in order to say June in Japanese, you say 6, so 6 is roku. And then you put gatsu at the end. So if I want to write that in hiragana, it would be, let's see. This is ro. This is ku. And then ga, it would just be the same as ka, like this. But then you apply dakuten on top to get the ga. And this is tsu. So let's take a look, see if this matches. Rokugatsu. Yeah, that's a match. Right? October is 10th month of the year. To say 10, that's ju. And then you just put gatsu at the end. So this is ji. This is shi. When you apply dakuten on top, you get ji. And then I'm gonna put half-sized yu. That is basically denoting a yun combination. So when you see a half-sized ya, yu, or yo, either in hiragana or katakana, you know you're dealing with a hiragana or with a yun combination. So this is not ji, yu, it's ju. Then we just have one more extra u, and then this is the same as before. So it's, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and tsu, jugatsu. Okay. February is, well, let's just get straight to it. Nigatsu. This is ni. This is ga with the dakuten. This is tsu. Let's undo that last stroke. Great. And then April, there are two ways to say 4. So you can say yon or you can say shi. And I've noticed this pattern in Japanese where when there are options for like the number, when it comes to months of the year, you go with the less popular one. So normally you say use yon, but here like April is shigatsu, if I remember correctly. So let's write that in romachi. Shigatsu. So shi is this, and then this is ka. Apply dakuten on top to get ga, and then we just need tsu. And yes, lingo command. So if you search lingo command on LinkedIn, that should come up. Just write it as one word. Yeah, there's a LinkedIn profile. January is, so you just have ichi, right? Ichi is how you say 1 in Japanese. And then you put gatsu. So this is 1, or sorry, this is i. Chi is kind of looks like a 5 to me. It's like this. And then this is the same thing as before, right? So this is ka. Let's extend this a little bit. Now we have ga. This is tsu. So ichigatsu should be January. Ichigatsu, yeah, great. July. So there are two ways to say 7 in Japanese. So you have nana. And you have shichi. Using that rule of thumb I came up with, nana is the more popular way of saying 7. Shichi I think is used like slightly less. But in any case, July would be shichigatsu. Shichigatsu in Japanese. And so this is shi. This is chi. This is ga. And then this is tsu. Shichigatsu. Let's take a look. Yeah, okay, awesome. September is, what is September? So you can say Q and you can say Ku for the number 9. I think Q is the more common one. So using our pattern with using the less common one when it comes to months of the year. And the reason why we're looking here at Q and Q is because September is the 9th month of the year, right? So this is all 9. So this is going to be Q Let's try and write this neatly. This is ga. And then this is tsu. Kugatsu. Great. November is the 11th month of the year. And so in Japanese, you say 10 by basically saying 10 plus 1. And so I think you say, wait, let me think this through. Ju ichi gatsu. And just to take like a brief detour, let's say that I said ju ni, right? That here we have a 2, here we've got a 10. Because I put the ni to the right of the 10, it's 10 plus 2. But suppose that I say niju, then all of a sudden it's 2 times 10. And so where you put the ni with respect to the ju either means you add or you multiply. I believe. And so November should be ju ichigatsu. So this is shi, you apply dakuten on top, you get ji. This is a half-sized yu, so this becomes a hiragana yun combination. So it's not ju, it's ju. We add additional u. Then we do i, chi. I guess let's just go to the next line. It's a little bit strange, but ju ichi this is ka. Then we put dakuten on top to get ga, and then we have tsu. So this is all correct. Great. If you okay, so March, right? Is the 3rd month of the year. March is the 3rd month of the year. To say 3 in Japanese, that's sun. And then if you put gatsu at the end, you get March. So in Japanese, March is sun gatsu. And my pitch intonation might be a bit off there, but basically that's roughly how it's pronounced. So sun would be, and by the way, just to kind of reiterate, my focus here is more for listening comprehension at the moment. And I'm also practicing like my writing for hiragana just to kind of consolidate that. But in any case, this is the hiragana for sa, and this is one stroke when it's typed. When it's handwritten, it's usually separated into 2 strokes, this last part. So this is sun, and let's zoom out a bit, and then we just do, this is ka, apply dakuten on top to get ga, and then we put here a tsu, sangatsu is March, sangatsu. So here you can see it's the typed version, it's basically the same thing, but there's no little gap here. August is 8th month of the year. So it's just hachi. I actually quite like this about Japanese, where the months are just like, you just say, oh, it's the 9th month, 10th month. It's very simple. So ha is this. And then chi is like that. So this is hachi. No. Ga tsu. Hachigatsu. December is 12th month of the year. To say 12, you just do 10 plus 2. So ju is 10, ni is 2, ju ni is 12. And then gatsu. So if we're going to write that in hiragana, it would be, this is shi, you apply dakuten on top, you get ji. This is a half-sized yu. To make the yun combination, so this is not GU, it's ju. Then just normal font size again. So ju, ni. Let's zoom out a little bit. This is ka. Now it's ga with the dakuten on top. 2 here. Ju, ni, ga, tsu. Great. And then May. What's May? That's the 5th month. 5 in Japanese is go. So it's go, ga, tsu. And ko is written like this. Apply dakuten to make it go. K goes to G, right? And then this is ka. Now it's ga. Or you apply dakuten on top, and then you have tsu. Great. So I think that went swimmingly. I do have to end the stream in about 5 minutes. So I'm thinking what would be... Let's do a speed run of colors. I'm going to see if I can do that. I'm going to handwrite my answers. Apply random ordering. So yellow is ki ro. This is ki. That's an I. That's... Ooh, let's think this through. Ki ro. Yeah, no, this is fine. Great. Gray is... What is gray? Hairo. So this is ha. And then we need 2 I's. And then we need a ro at the end. Yep, write this more neatly. There we go. Blue is ao. Which would be... No, let's think this through. First comes A and then O. Pink is pinku. It comes from like a... It's like a loan word. And so this is going to be written in katakana. This is hit. When you apply handakuten on top, hit becomes pit. Then we just need N. So what is N in Japanese in katakana? I think it's this. And then we just need ku, which is this. Orange is oranji. It's kind of the same situation, right? So, thank you so much for your comment. I'm just gonna have to use Google Translate to try and figure out what this means. Unfortunately, I'm not at the level where I can read this. Vocabulary practice. Thank you so much for the recommendation. My goal with the live stream is to learn Japanese, but also use it to improve the website lingocommand.com. Since I am the software engineer behind the project. Since I have built the website myself. So I'm trying to see how much Japanese I can learn using my own product. Oh, actually, this looks like it's just hiragana. So you wrote ire do itashimashite. Does that mean do itashimashite? Is that like you're welcome? Let's see. I was able to read it at least. Now I just need to understand what it says. Let's see. It's a bit hard to copy the message. Ah, cool. It is indeed you're welcome. That was my alarm. I'm just looking at the time and unfortunately I'm gonna have to call it a day. Let me just very quickly write down orenji. So just so I don't leave that undone. So this is this is re. And then this is, wait, let me draw that more neatly. That's N. And then what is she in hiragana or katakana? I mean, she is this. And then I just need to apply Dakuten on top. Yeah, that's great. Okay, let's try and read this. By the way, I literally have to go in 1 minute, so I'll be able to reply to the last message. I see Attack on Titan. Soka. Oh, I see. I think that's what it means. Sono. Kanji. Okay. Let me put that in Google Translate so I can read this. I remember that song. Oh, the alarm. Yeah, indeed. I'm a huge Attack on Titan fan. It's the this wow. Your memory is very good. That you can notice the song that quickly. It's ending one song of AOT. Yeah, thank you guys for all your support. Thank you so much for all your support, everyone. See you next time. And yeah, so next time I think what I'll do is I'll probably try and do like verbs. Jane? Yeah, that means, yeah, Janet. bye. I think that's what that means. Jana means, I think it means like see you next time or like bye, something like that. But yeah, see y'all next time. Thank you for joining the stream. Bye for now.